To begin breaking down this engine, we're going to get out some basic tools. We're going to need things like a set of Allen wrenches, a set of Torx drivers, a box and open-ended wrench, an adjustable wrench, and some Phillips and flat blade screwdrivers. For this example, we're going to break down the two-stroke engine on a leaf blower, but a weed whacker, chainsaw, hedge trimmer, most of them are all the same. They all have the plastic shroud that covers most of the engine. In this case, we're going to have to use a Torx driver. This Torx driver is mated to the same size that the screws are. We're going to go through and remove all the screws that are holding the outside case together. In this case, everything is composed by that plastic housing. We've just exposed the muffler. Now we're going to go ahead through and remove all the other screws. We're going to hold the entire outside shroud together. At this point, we're going to take off the cover from the carburetor. Inside, we're going to be able to see the air cleaner. So right there, that's our foam air cleaner. That needs to be replaced every once in a while, and the air cleaner cover that covers the air cleaner. Now we're going to remove the outside of the air cleaner tied up against the carburetor. Now we've exposed our carburetor. You can see on the carburetor there's two different sides. One side having the choke, the other side having the throttle. And of course the carburetor takes and mixes fuel and air in the proper proportions to allow for combustion. There'll be two fuel lines connected to the carburetor. We'll need to remove those. You may need a pair of pliers. Make sure you note the difference between the screws you're using. Now we're ready to completely remove the muffler. There's going to be two deep, long screws that go into the engine, connecting the muffler to the top of the cylinder. Now at this point, we're able to remove the outside shroud. This exposes the engine, the fuel tank, and all the internal parts of the leaf blower. The engine itself then can be removed from the outside housing. You can see the fuel tank stays with the body there. Now we're going to remove the blower off the bottom. This is the part that actually does the blowing of the leaf blower. We're going to use a box or a open-ended box wrench to remove the nut off the main axle there. Remove the washer. Remove the plastic turbine there. Now inside you can see the pull starter. That's what starts the engine. That can be then removed. You've got to be careful that you don't take the pull starter completely apart while you remove that big coil spring inside. So if we keep it intact, which we hopefully do, now we've exposed the flywheel. The flywheel maintains the constant velocity of the engine. In this case, it also has a magnet that works with the magneto to create the magnetic charge, or electromagnetic field that provides spark to the spark plug. Now we're able to remove our magneto, which in this case is still attached to the starter. Now we can remove our flywheel. The flywheel then has a keyway that matches up to the slotted part of the main drive shaft of the engine. This keeps everything synchronized together. At this point we're ready to remove our spark plug. I'm going to use a box wrench in this case. Could use a deep well socket to remove that spark plug. This is what provides spark to complete combustion. On the spark plug, you can see the identification numbers identifying the type, and in this case the brand. Now we're going to remove the cylinder from the crankcase of the engine. In this case, it has deep Allen screws that are pretty stubborn, so we're going to use a pair of vice grips to allow us to have a little bit more leverage to thread those two screws out. This will allow us to separate the cylinder from the crankcase. Now we can remove the cover at the bottom of the engine. This will expose the crankshaft and the connecting rod that connects to the piston. Once it's removed, we can now look at the piston rings, the wrist pin, and the connecting rod. Now we've laid all our parts out and we can identify them. Here we see the magneto, the muffler, the cylinder, the crankcase and crankshaft, the piston ring, wrist pin, and connecting rod, the carburetor, air filter and the air filter cover, the fuel tank, the pull starter, the flywheel, and the spark plug.